Hey everyone, it's me, coming on strong. The message today may reach some of you, a lot of you, none of you, but the message is still the same that God will always meet you where you are. So, how this started for me and might have started for a lot of you, and if this has reached you, it's probably because it's meant for you. But I went out tonight. I don't usually go out. I put on my Sunday best. What can I say? And I met up with a girlfriend of mine and we went out. And you have to understand that, and I'm sure you guys know, when you have gone on an ascended journey, it's really difficult to kind of acclimate. You know what I mean? Like to sit around people and act the norm or what we would call the norm. And the whole room would be swirling around me, you know, go to the bathroom. There's chicks doing lines and doing blow. You go to the bar, people are drinking. And you hear all the different like conversations going on. And that is actually what the norm is, if you think about it. At least when you go out in the modern day to day, every day. At least what it was when I was growing up, at least what it was in my 20s and 30s. In a city, when you go out, that's really what you interact with. And I sat at my table and I watched this whirlwind go around me. I barely drink. I don't smoke anymore. Don't smoke weed. I gave up hash as of January. Yay. I've given up all of my vices, including sex. Because if you don't think sex is, it can be. And that I gave up a long time ago. And I can truly say that most of my life and most of my existence is between mono y mono, me and my spirit team and God. And that's it. So when I sit in this situation, and it's not to say like, oh yeah, I don't have a beer or two or whatever, I'm not trying to be like Mother Teresa. That's not who I am. I do, and I notice right away that like it affects me differently. And you have to understand, before anything happened, I've said, I'm not a sinner. Like I've been a sinner and I've been a saint. I'm both in the same right. And I was sitting there and I was like, wow, this whirlwind of people's going around me. And I'm realizing like how much of a fish out of water I feel like. And in that moment I sat there and I was like, who do I connect with here? And the only resounding feeling I had in my heart was God. It was like as if God was looking through my eyeballs, through every of my senses, and was perceiving the world around me. Not obscurely, not in a judgmental way, but in a way that was like God looking at me. And God was actually having a commentary with me while I was in this place, saying like, you were no different than any of these people 5 years ago, 10 years ago, etc. And it was odd because like now I kind of feel so disattached, and I'm sure most of you know that you're on this journey and it's really hard to acclimate with people or to be about things. Like I don't do any drugs or drink or smoke, or I mean the drinking I do is so pitiful considering. And I'll be honest with you, when I was a full-blown drinker, and I have no shame in saying this, I used to be able to down like a $20 bottle of JD and Coke worth in a night, if not worse. Smoke like 2 packs of cigarettes a night. Probably smoke like 5-6 spliffs. I didn't really partake in blow, but there's enough people around me that did, and I didn't judge them for it. And when people look at like what Yeshua was dealing with in his time, he might have had a lot of like winos, let's say, a lot of people hitting the vino a little strong. But you sit there and you think to yourself, as someone who doesn't really participate anymore, and someone who used to participate, if not stronger than the average, and you look back and you're like, how did I get here? And the only answer that comes to you is through God. God shapes us in every single fashion, in every single way, to the point that we don't even know the capabilities that we have. We don't even know the acceleration that we have in our potential. We don't even know truly who we are. Because realistically, I'm not trying to give you like a, oh, I became sober speech. That's not even it. Like, it went beyond the sober. It went beyond every attachment to the 3D that I could even fathom. And I sit in these places and I watch everything, and it's not to say that I cannot participate. It's that I feel like I'm this exister. I'm an exister outside of the existence. And I feel like for a lot of you out there, maybe you guys feel like this too. Because it's like I spend a lot of this time trying to replay who I was in those places, who I was in those spaces. And it's really alarming to me because it's like I feel like I'm the third person and the second person of my own life. And obviously the first person is God. And God is that perceiver in all of us. At all times, in all places, in all phases, in the highs and the lows. And all of us know what I'm talking about. I'm going to get a little ugly here, but it's so that you can understand what I'm saying. Every breakup you've ever had, every makeup you've ever had, every bottomed out thing that you've ever done, every skeezy thing you've ever done, you knew and I knew and everyone knew that someone was watching, right? Every time you had your girlfriend holding your hair up while you yacked your brains out at a club, or every time that you did something shady, like you took the $10 out of your friend's wallet when they weren't looking or when they weren't, at their best. And I'm not saying all of you have done that. What I'm trying to say is that it doesn't matter how low of a person you've been or how high in terms of like acclamation of spirit you've been. God's been there. The only entity, the only essence, the only spirit, the only existence that sits with you at all times is God. So it's like as if, for those of you out there that don't understand what I'm saying, come the time that we all pass through this veil and we have to sit there with our maker who's been there all along, we're going to have to go through that reel of existence. You know what I mean? All the times that meant the most, all the times that hurt the most, all the times that were the best, all the times that were the lowest. And we're going to have to really sit with ourselves, because in essence, God is us and we are God, because there's no other difference between it all. Oscar, stop. Sorry, my dog needed a toy. I really got to, like, it's not to say that I haven't been in that place before, but when I really sat at that table and watched the whirlwind go around me, and I was having this mono talk with God, like realizing that it was like, you're here with me always. There's never going to be a time that you're not. It really puts perspective on who and what and is important, and really puts a filament as to the real judgment that we may face in any part of our existence. So I know this can be short and sweet, but I did want to say one thing. God is always with us, okay? And I know firsthand that years ago, when I let go of God, I knew the difference. I knew the dissidence. I knew the separation. And when I sat at the table, I saw a whole fleet of people that were separated. And it's like, in some ways, I know I can't step into that. I can't talk to them about that because this is a personal thing. So that's why I get a little up in arms when people try to like say, oh, I'll bring you to God. You can always cheerlead. You can always give beautiful messages. You can always do connections, but you cannot bring anyone to God. The beauty and the shaping of that materialism of existence and relationship is something so profound, so profound. It is so unique to who you are that if someone is trying to sell you on this idea, they're a bull-faced liar. Because God speaks to you in the intimate. God speaks to you in the sadness. God speaks to you in the happiness, in the joy that only you see and only you face and only you feel. So the next time you ask yourself if you feel like you're disconnected, I hope your one takeaway from this speech today is that you're never, ever, ever separate. The only person that can separate you from God is you. And I know that firsthand. Okay? As someone who left, came back, and is who I am today. The disconnection only starts by your disbelief. The disconnection only starts because you don't believe in yourself. The disconnection starts because you don't think you're worthy, and that's okay. So many don't. But if for one moment and one shining time, when you're on your knees praying to the Lord above, and you feel like you need everything and anything to help you out in that time, that's the humming, that's the chord, that's the resonance of belief that you may not feel in your day-to-day, but you do feel when you're on your lowest of lows. And I just want to say, God's with you in your highs, and God's with you in your lows. God's never, ever, ever separate from you. So please know it's never different. It's always together. Since day one till the day you leave, that's going to be your best friend through it all. The only one who sees through everything you've seen through. That's God. Through your eyes, through its and or is all eyes, is God. It's not that much more complicated than that. They sit with you in every aspect of self. When the door closes, the window opens. When the sadness falls, God picks you up. When you get picked up, you get knocked back down. All of it is with God. All of it is through God. And I just wanted to share that because I had that revelation again for the 15 millionth time, because I don't go out that often and I literally don't get to be around a lot of participants other than when I'm at home by myself. And I just wanted to say that that reality is real, and I hope you feel it, and I hope you know it, and I hope this helps you get there. Love you lots. Bye for now.